and welcome back to The Trouble with Scope Control. This is part 3 of our discussion, and today we're going to discuss the trouble with Scope Challenge. I've strategically left this part of the discussion to last because we're going to lean heavily on the last discussion about the turnaround premise to completely eliminate the very first and significant trouble with Scope Challenge, and that is the challenge of having 24 or a dozen and a half stakeholders all show up at the table with their own definition of what acceptable turnaround scope looks like. So we eliminated that by leaning all the way in to our turnaround premise and creating it as an actual rules of engagement document that is signed off at the very top. So let's make that clear, that it's not turn around telling everybody what to do. It is senior leadership signing off on the turnaround premise, which is what they approve the rest of us to do. So now that whole chaotic arguing with everybody about yours is in and his isn't in, all of that's gone. Right? Because everybody is going to be expected to present scope that is compliant to the turnaround process. So along that lines, there is, that second term, scope scrub. Some people use these two terms interchangeably. I'm recommending right now that we're going to keep both terms, but scope scrub can be an internal process and doesn't require gathering all the stakeholders together at once. As scope comes in, it can be addressed just between the turnaround team and the scope provider, say that's process engineering. They can look at that together and evaluate whether they feel that honestly fits the guidelines of the turnaround premise or not. Now, the advantage of doing that is it helps to mitigate the remaining trouble with Scope Challenge. And the remaining trouble with Scope Challenge, to be quite honest, is cost. And I really think in this regard, we're talking more about resource cost. I mean, we're going to need the leadership or the management level of basically all the departments in our facility, all of the stakeholders that are participating in turnaround, and we're going to need them to participate in the Scope Challenge exercise. That doesn't sound that bad so far, but understand that a Scope Challenge for an oil refinery or any significant facility along that lines that's not go uptown for a day. That isn't even go uptown for a week. Scope Challenge in any significant turnaround situation is going to run 4 weeks plus. And one of the things you can do to help mitigate that is to facilitate the Scope Challenge. So we've had clients tell us that their experience when we've facilitated their Scope Challenge, I think that was like a 5-week job. And when they'd previously done their Scope Challenge in-house entirely, I think they told me it was a 3-month job. So you can help mitigate it, but there isn't anything you can do to get it down to 1 or 2 people for a day or two. It is going to be, depending on the size of your facility and how things are broke down, it's going to be basically all of the stakeholders for a month plus. And you can reduce it, like I said, significantly through facilitation. So again, this is another place where we can help. If we're already on site as your senior advisor on a subscription contract for whatever would the agreement happen to be, 2 days a month, 3 days a month, a week a month, then you already have a built-in facilitation path as a part of your senior advisor contract. If you don't have a senior advisor subscription, we can still come in on a one-off basis, as we've done with other clients, and facilitate your Scope Challenge for you. We can't make it, what people would call easy breezy, but we can help you get through it as efficiently as possible. This has been The Trouble with Scope Control. Come back next week when I'm going to talk about the trouble with lessons learned. That's going to be exciting. Peace out.